because after what Rahul Gandhi camp said, now the Ekanth Shinde camp MLAs have released a resolution letter. 34 MLAs. I repeat the number here. 34 members of the Legislative Assembly have signed this letter that says, and I quote it here, the MLAs are dissatisfied by the prevailing corruption in the Maharashtra government, and that's specifically referring to Nawab Malik and Anil Deshmukh. The party cadre is facing harassment and distress on personal grounds from the opposition's ideological parties. So which are the ideological parties in opposition within the government? The Congress party and the NCP. They're also stating in that resolution letter that the discontent among the cadre, among the Shiv Sena cadre, is primarily against Congress and NCP. For the last 2.5 years, our party Shiv Sena leadership are compromising on party principles. Very strong words there in the resolution letter that the Shiv Sena leadership has ignored people's mandate of 2019 and tied up with the Congress and NCP. So is this about old grudges coming forth eventually now that they have the strength to speak up about it, or is there something more brewing behind? But for now, the resolution letter that we are breaking first here on India Today from the Shinde camp, very important, MLAs, 34 in number, which is the official number as of now it appears. So definitely 34 MLAs are with Ekanth Shinde. They are saying Nawab Malik and Anil Deshmukh, both of them are behind bars. They are saying because of their prevailing corruption, because of harassment and distress on personal grounds from the Congress and the NCP, indirectly, but clearly stating that ideologically in opposition parties, among the cadre is against the Congress and the NCP. For the last 2 years, Sena leadership has compromised party principles and tied up with Congress and NCP. This again the reference coming in as Ekanth Shinde had quoted Anand Dige and Bala Saheb Thackeray and said Hindutva ideology matches and will stay with it. It matches with the BJP, not with the Congress and NCP. Very interesting. We'll try and get you details if Uddhav Thackeray's name was directly mentioned here or not. But the Shiv Sena leadership eventually, of course, again reflects back to the Thackeray's. And therefore, this has become, in many ways, a defined 7-page letter of Shinde's Sena, as we can say right now, with this new group that is emerging. You're looking, of course, at old visuals where Uddhav Thackeray and Shinde were at such a platform where Shinde would touch feet and take the blessings of Uddhav Thackeray. Today, he's a defiant Neta standing against Uddhav Thackeray, where the question is in survival of politics, of the party and of Uddhav Thackeray. Vidya joins me from Mumbai. Vidya, do give us details about this resolution letter of Ekanth Shinde. 34 MLAs stating, we are done with the Congress and NCP. We face harassment and distress.
The letter that has been put forth certainly bears quite a lot of signatures than the Shiv Sena probably expected. But the Shiv Sena here is still going ahead with the whip that they have issued, and they are very clear that they have the numbers. Whether the letter with, and if you see, Ekanth Shinde has been claiming that he does have most of the MLAs with him. They clearly in this over the last many weeks, months that they have faced is written in the letter, and that is what it really conveys, the reasons why they have left the party and are right now earlier in Surat and right now in Guwahati.
So what time are we expecting this meeting that is also set to begin? How is the Shiv Sena ensuring that, with just few hours to go now before a final decision will come from what is expected of the Mahavikas Aghadi government? When is the huddle expected of the Shiv Sena? How are you looking at who will attend? Because Ekanth Shinde said this is illegal. The whip, the senior whip, is actually in Guwahati right now with us. So how is that really happening at this point?
After the Shiv Sena, Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena actually put out a letter and for changing the Legislative Assembly's leader, they actually had 22 signatures on that letter as well. So that certainly meant that Ekanth Shinde did not have what he was claiming, and that's one of the reasons why it is being claimed by the Shiv Senics also that at this moment it is Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena which still has the numbers with it, and that is one of the reasons why this whip was issued. One, as a threat to Ekanth Shinde and others who are still in Guwahati, to tell them that in case you do not really come back in time, which is by 5 o'clock this evening, 7 o'clock this evening, this entire action would be taken. Whether or not the party will go ahead with the action is a different matter, what will really happen later. But to get things moving. This entire whip has been issued. Also, what we have learned is that Chandrakant Patil has also, who was earlier in Surat, has also gone there. So things might change, look a little different a little later, you know,
Yes.
with a lot of happenings around, especially around the time when the entire whip that has been issued, that really, you know, comes
do tell me this at this point, because you must be trying to reach out to the Shiv Sena MLAs. I also liked how you said Uddhav Thackeray Shiv Sena, because clearly there's another Shinde Shiv Sena that is emerging. Do you think that the morale of the cadre of the Shiv Sena, are they taken aback? Are they waiting for Uddhav Thackeray to find a solution? You know, how is the cadre, how are the other MLAs looking at what's brewing? Do they think they can keep the government intact, or perhaps they would want eventually to go with the BJP?
Since the time this MVA government had really formed, a lot of Shiv Sainiks had been saying that this was not right. And that is exactly what Ekanth Shinde has really, you know, used, if I can say, to get this entire coup working, and has taken, you know, where all the MLAs, where most of the people who have actually gone with Ekanth Shinde are aware of the view that the MVA government should not have formed, the Shiv Sena should not have gone with the Congress and the NCP. And at this juncture as well, even now, Uddhav Thackeray actually stands by his decision that he had taken in 2019 to go with Congress and NCP. He claims, Uddhav Thackeray claims, that this entire government will still work. Well, it depends first, one, after the sheer fact that the numbers in the party itself can be, you know, are actually right. Apart from that, after the parties really prove their numbers, it will now have to be taken a step further, where all these three parties together will have to prove their majority. That will take certainly time.
Vidya, stay on with me, because as Vidya is tracking all the latest from Mumbai.